Yeah.
and how
And nothing
all
was
that's-
budgeted for last year.
I'm sorry.
No, there were, no, that person, that's true. That person
Took
was
someone
not
else's place.
No, that person was not in that position last year.
Right, so nothing was budgeted.
It was budgeted
No.
under Gary Brown, wasn't that
There
last
was
year?
a person in that
That was
title.
a short period of time.
Yeah, $29,000, I remember. But also, I've never known, not unless something, anybody to work, 80 hours, 2 weeks, and you consider them part-time?
Well, that's my point.
That's
That's my
not even
point.
feasible.
That would be temporary, really, part-time temporary. I think he was.
Working 80 hours every 2 weeks?
But we're at 35-hour
That's
work.
yeah, I mean, that's a different discussion in a way. I think that there's a mistake and an error or a misunderstanding or something going on there that I have to research. So give me some time to do the research on that, okay? But the recreation department always hires part-time. They may work 8 hours a day, but they're part-time because they're temporary or they're seasonal.
This is in the mayor's office, this is not
I-
recreation.
He was previously from recreation, hired from recreation. And he worked so well that the city wanted to keep him. So they're extending him a permanent position.
But by whose evaluation?
The mayors and the deputy business administrators, the people who are responsible for hiring.
That's, we can say that's suspect, but anyway. We'll deal with
so-
it later.
It wasn't me. Although he is a very good worker, I'll say. He's very good.
We're moving to the business.
So maybe we should move it in finance to help you, Ms. Lestelle.
Councilwoman Newsom,
We
we're
did
moving to the, we're moving
No,
to the
she's saying
business
maybe we should move into
administrator
your
office.
department to help you.
To the Department of Business Administrator. So in the Department of the Business Administrator's office, again, the 2% should be removed. And I believe those salaries have been there. Are there any questions regarding the salaries?
Councilwoman Williams, Vice President?
Yes.
Under business administration, there's nothing budgeted. Is there a reason for that?
Under business administrator for what?
Yeah, we do not currently have a business administrator.
But aren't we?
We have,
are we
I wrote it
planning
in
on-
as an acting VA. It's
Just as, Mr. Lurch has to, he's not feeling well.
I'm just exhausted, so.
I'm not either, so we should all go home.
Get there.
I'm not talking about that motion. I'll do it.
please, let me go. No,
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Go ahead,
At
Councilwoman.
some point, I'm assuming, I'm hoping,
I'm
we
sorry,
are
under what
gonna hire.
salaries? What salary? I didn't hear you.
At some point, under acting VA, where it says business administration, there's nothing budgeted. So the basic assumption is that we're never gonna hire a business administrator?
It's 105.
It's under acting, the acting VA.
Oh, I see what you're
Business
saying.
administrator since being.
They took the salary out for business administrators. So they sending us a message?
I don't have
Mrs.
I don't have an answer to that.
I do, Councilwoman. Let's move on. This,
Yes, right.
we all know the answer.
And I mean, this is supposed to be a
Mr. White,
budget that
can you
we're
just
trying
note
to
that there's not,
decipher. I don't know. But anyway.
okay.
So why are we going through the motions? That's what I want to find out.
Councilwoman, we have to, let's finish.
Can we
You
just
know-
go on to the clerk's budget?
Councilman, let's get through the business administrators, and if you don't have, let's just state what's on there, and if you don't have any questions, we'll move on. If there, does anybody have any questions in the BA's office regarding salary? Does the Citizen Budget Advisory have any questions regarding salary?
No.
No? Moving on to the operating, there is a new sheet. If
What about it?
One in the account 501 for the 27, what is that for?
Are you talking about mayor under communications? for
Business
mayor?
administrative,
Business.
account 501, 2710. And if you don't know, Mr. Scott, you can get back to us. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I thought I looked that up and wrote it in there.
It was actually
under-
switched from rentals and leases up to communications. You can send the email.
I don't remember.
Okay.
That's what was budgeted last year.
Was it spent?
Yeah, it was moved from rentals and leases up to communication.
Okay, are there any questions on the operating? Any questions for the citizens? Yes.
For supplies, 301. Our original questioning was, there was an appropriation of $103,000, only $73,248 and 57.
We're at business administration, business administrator. I know it's confusing.
Right, exactly.
That was 2013.
Yeah, I was going somewhere with that. Do I have to run? That's all I got.
No, it's not.
Oh, we
You're under-
started
no,
that, we
yeah,
never finished.
Thousands of
Okay. Okay, well then
These 10.
I'll wait
So,
till we get there then.
okay.
Mixed up together.
All right, so there's no questions there?
No.
Going to the administration department. I would just, do you have a budget in front of you?
No.
It just, this affirmative action officer position, we have requested that it be moved to the law office because it's more appropriate in the law office. And I know we can, that wouldn't be for you, that would be Mrs. Scary, I'm sorry. If that would, you know, I'm just noting that that should be in the law office as we stated last year.
Well, remember when we did Mr. Smith, what we did move, we asked him, he asked for an affirmative action.
Well, I'm saying last year we moved it, so I'm just
Yeah,
reminded it
so it
should be here.
should be under that new person that he wants to hire, right?
But yeah, but they put it back, so I'm just
So we
saying.
can just delete it.
Under tab four.
Right.
Okay.
And the police records clerks, go ahead. Are there any questions regarding salary?
Do we know who's doing the affirmative action officer?
Mr. Scary,
I'm sorry,
do we know who's doing the affirmative action officer?
Mr. Edwards?
Mr. Edwards?
Mm-hmm.
He's getting that extra 15,000 right now?
Mm-hmm.
I told you he was making 120
That's a shame.
Any
million.
other, okay.
So he's getting the 105 plus the extra 15 right now.
As deputy BA.
And that he was, okay, we have,
But the business administrator, so in other words, the title is really, he's getting the dollars for the business administrator under a
Through
different
another
title.
department. Well, same
no, the
department,
affirmative
another
action,
title.
right, he's at.
Huh?
For the
Under
affirmative
another
action.
title, what you said.
Under another title.
The affirmative action, the piece, he's getting 15,000.
That's called creative financing.
There you go.
We heard it. But, and was he paid that line item, was he paid that 15,000 in 2013, Mrs. Scary?
That was his salary in 2013.
And, but it was not, we took it out the Department of Administration. So was he paid the money from the law department?
No,
So how was he paid it if it was not on this line?
that line wasn't in this slot last year.
No, I was just, but he was, Well, for 2013, it was in the law.
Well, that's why when you looked at, no,
Yes. At the final budget, at the approved budget, it was in the law office. It was moved to the law department. So that's what I'm, so I'm just curious to see. And there's also a new sheet. This is the final last sheet that you should have received. And under the office materials, it's $100,000 for office materials, Mr. Scott?
yeah, they cover for the entire city.
Okay. 3,001. And MVD strategies is 26,000. That's, is that the PR person? That's the PR person. Right.
Millennium Strategy.
Yes, that's the MVD strategies, right?
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the,
Shouldn't that be under contractual services or professional services? No? I don't know.
that's a professional contract, so should that be under communications?
It could be, it's kind of a,
Millennium is under there.
depends on how you want to look at it.
Public relations contract.
But it's a contract specifically for communicating with the public, so that's why it's put under communications.
And then copiers, public defender, GIS system. Any questions regarding operating?
Yeah, what is audit of time and attendances? What is that?
This is something that we would like to do. I remember when we were reviewing the payroll companies, it's one of the things that the council specifically questioned is how are you going to make sure that the days off that people, their sick and vacation time that are being entered into the new system are accurate. So I think it's a very good idea if we do a full audit across the board so that we make sure with the new payroll company, we start with clean numbers.
Right, but that's prospective. In other words,
It's
absent
something we
data
would
of
like
what...
to do. We would like to hire an independent company or whatever to audit that piece so that we can have clean numbers for the start.
Does auditing it mean going back and determining the accuracy of the numbers for which no one seems to have the data? How do you do that?
Well, that's why you need an auditor to look at it and come up with the best determination that can be done. And if it's somebody who's independent and it's not in-house, it's not going to have personal opinion attached to it. It's going to be just based on what the records that can be obtained.
Well, someone who's independent, it's still a function of what is given to them by the people here who are self-interested. So there is no independent auditor in that regard.
It's as best as you can get.
I don't think,
Unless I mean, I think it's definitely worth something. Worth considering.
Councilman Goldberg, did you have a question?
No, but I thought when we hired the new payroll or entered into the contract for the new payroll company that one of the things that they would be able to assess literally at their fingertips would be the accumulation of time.
But they have to have beginning numbers to start with. The purpose of having someone to do an audit is to make sure that our beginning numbers are that we're all comfortable with the beginning numbers.
Right, but
They're as
again,
accurate
as Councilman
from once it's established, going forward, it will be accurate.
Right, but as Councilman Marable stated accurately, if there's no historical data, how do you get accurate?
It's not that there's no historical data. It would be the responsibility of that person to dig it up and to obtain it and review it.
Are there any other questions regarding, Ms. Williams?
Yeah, we did. Well, for the 301,
It's just, what's up with the operating, you don't have any salary?
we don't have any salary questions.
Okay, 301.
But for the 301, we noticed that there was originally budgeted $103,000 from 2013,
only $73,248.57 was spent. And then now there's a request for $100,000, but that, I understand that the request is less than 2013, but it's still a gap of $30,000 from what was actually spent to what's requested. So we wanted to know if there was something down the pike, or why it was, the requested wasn't more reflective of the city's spending trend. Because in 2012, it was only 46.
Well, in 2012, we were not operating in the same manner. Your departments were more responsible for all of their own office supplies. By 2013, we really instituted the centralized purchasing. So it's still kind of an area relatively, to say, in its infancy, to making sure that we can understand exactly what the office supply needs are throughout the city.
So when you say,
It could possibly, potentially be reduced a little bit. Again, when I was preparing this group of budgets, I stuck pretty close to what we had last time, without trying to think it through, because it's not my department. So I can't I can't do it for them, except to say, well, just carry it forward. If they have something that they want to add, they have to let me know.
so with the centralized ordering system, does each department, when they express their need, how is it tracked? Because even if it's centrally expended, wouldn't each department still have some sort of record or backup as to how much they're spending on supplies coming out of each department?
The way that the centralized purchasing works, if departments have specific requests of items that they need, they'll put that to the woman who's responsible for that room, and she will add that to her next order. Then she keeps the supplies in her room. Any department who wants anything has to go down there, list exactly what they want, and it has to be signed off on by their director and who received it, and she signs it. So and she has a notebook with every single request from every department of what they have taken out of that room. But when departments need something that could be potentially used by all departments, it gets ordered through her. Now, the reason why all of the departments have a small office supply budget is for when they have things that are specific or unique to their department that would not be conducive to putting through a central supply.
Okay. Okay. Yes, for the communications, just in 2013, it's stating that $7,053.95 was actually spent out of that 501 line. The request for 2014 is $26,000, and we were trying to figure out why it was such an...
As far as I understand, they started using a, what did you call
A firm.
MBD?
Oh.
The type of company
It's a
it is?
public relation.
They started using a public relations firm towards the latter part of 2013, and then it was a different one. And now they're desiring to begin contracting with this company for that, so it would be a full year of operation rather than a partial year.
Okay.
I would say it would not be a bad idea for postage to increase, but we can take it from the office supplies, for example. If we leave the numbers, then it could still work out the same, so.
Okay. I think that we just off the discussion of the audit for time and attendance, I would suggest, even if it's not contracted by an outside firm, I would consider looking into the audit, especially if there's union contracts involved as far
And
as
there are.
vacation and
It's
sick
very
time.
complicated.
Because that will make it a complicated process. So even though it seems like something that you may not want to spend on. You may want to invest it now and avoid possible litigation later when it comes to computing someone's time and attendance wrong as per their union contract. So that would be the referral from the CBAC.
Are there any follow-up questions regarding the administration?
I have a question.
Yes.
Why if, Mr. Royster's under, community services, why is the media analyst here? Why wouldn't they be in the same spot?
You mean
Independent
MBD?
It's an independent contract, Councilman.
Who is?
MBD Communication. The
I'm
MBD.
not talking about them, I'm talking about Gessner. Why wouldn't he be in the same department as Keith
Okay.
Royster?
Yeah, I think that was odd.
I don't have an answer to that question.
But don't you think that would be logical?
In this case, what I think might be logical really has nothing to do with it.
I think that's something we should take a look at.
Mr. White, could you get a response from us why he's in the department and not under the department where he works, and that's under the community services? Are we ready to move to the public defender? The public defender shows two salaries and a requested new salary. And I see that there's a request for a $10,000 raise.
And he's part-time.
That's not a, yeah, that's a,
That's a
it
what?
doesn't, it's not said what it is.
They want to raise his salary $10,000.
Yep, I guess that's what it is.
And a no public defender. So there's no questions on the salaries with regard to that?
No, I guess we'll discuss that when we get to our portion.
Right. Office, are there any, is $1,000 requested for professional service? Do you know what that professional service is, Mrs. Scary? Do you know, Mr. White, what the professional service might be?
I'm sorry, I didn't look up the detail under that one. They just need a small budget.
Could you tell us what the professional service is in the memo or?
I'll have to look it up.
Okay. You can tell us tomorrow. Do you have any questions for the public defender?
We had the same ones you did with the increase.
The increase in
Yeah.
1,000. Moving on to the ABC board. Just the 5,000, which has been standard for the secretary.
That's self-explanatory.
And the operating, 9,000.
Who is the annual appreciation dinner for?
That's new, yes. Mrs. Gary, do you know what that is for?
I'm not familiar with the operations of the ABC board, but I think that this is an event that, no, it says new.
Right, it's not. Councilwoman, that's.
I don't have any more
liaison. Do you
detail
wanna
on
get- Do you want to do the research on that? Your liaison?
Well, I know what it is. They're probably like at the end of the year. One of the things when I was chair, we was asking for that, being they were all volunteers, that at the end of the year, they could have like a Christmas luncheon or something. So, in this environment, I don't think we can afford that. I mean, it's only, what, 3 people? Well, 4
And
was the
yourself,
attorney.
4 and then 5. Right.
Yeah, so,
Okay. And then everything else is. Do you have any questions for the ABC board? Okay. All right, then we're finished, and we have the municipal council and the clerk's office, so I think we need to take a 2-minute break so we transition. to recess for 2 minutes. Is there a motion?
Move.
Second? Second? A second, all in favor? Motion to recess for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
All in favor?
I.
Any opposed? No, I haven't. It takes the wide one, right?
No, mine's the 5, 6 like that.
Oh, okay.